Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome back to Champions Esports Series, where tonight we shall contest round 7 here in the chaotic streets of Azerbaijan. That's right, we are heading to Baku this evening. It should be a very, very interesting race, and it is going to be chaotic, and it is going to be carnage all the way throughout. Drivers are out on the circuit currently. They are just doing their outlap, so I'll quickly run you through the standings after last week's race in Silverstone, where you can see Shizou Seeders Igniters did take that top spot, but only just. It's 8 points separating the top two, and it's Venturi following closely behind. A disappointing evening for Tomas Enge Sims. He slipped to second in the standings. Venturi in third on 185. Then it's Tartum, 1 point clear of FVR Campeonato, so they could be a little bit of a threat for that top four, if not top three. Then it's RSC, ET8, ONIB, Azuri, and IRT. But as I mentioned, drivers are out on the circuit. They are just making their way around this magnificent street circuit, which debuted back in 2016. I think one of the first drivers potentially on a lap as we head track side is Pascal Hill. Now make his way through. Plenty of retirements in qualifying. IRT, TRT, and then also a ZR as well. I think they've all got qualifying bans. So Pascal Gill, he'll be the first one round to be setting a lap. Actually, I think Modler might just beat him to it, but we'll stay on board with the ONIB driver as he now heads down into the middle sector split. 14-5 there from the kick Sauber. Of course, it is going to be first for Ryan Modler, so we'll see him pop to the top of the times briefly. It's actually Casper Flack, who was the first one round. He's instantly beaten by Modler by 0.3 of a second. What about Pascal? What is he going to be able to do in this one as he's on his first flying lap? Simon Engel to third, and then for Pascal, it's fourth fastest, a 38.4. There goes Elias Luckhart up into third place. Enzo Sabaton is on a lap time as well. Langrock up into third. His teammates of Lucas Beisner coming up to the line, sixth fastest for him. Of course, a disappointing evening last time out at Silverstone for Lucas, and we'll be looking to bounce back quite quickly. Here comes Sabaton to the line for RSC. Goes to the top of the times, actually, by nearly 0.2 of a second. Of course, if it wasn't for that penalty last time out for Renz Tomassen, we could have potentially seen RSC take their first victory of the season. But it is Enzo Sabaton who snatches provisional pole away at the moment, as we still wait for Marcel Paps to shoot and to finish their lap times, along with Odin. Paps is just heading through the first sector, same as Tsubi. Actually, I think invalidated his previous attempt, so he won't get a lap time on the board just yet. And here comes Odin Turks up to the line. And what's it going to be? Ninth fastest. Just slots in behind Lucas Beisner in front of his teammate Pascal. So that is a majority of the first runs done. It's Sabaton who takes the upper hand at the moment. We're still waiting on Marcel Pabst to see what he could do on his attempt. Now making his way through the final part of the circuit. Could get a lovely slipstream down this main straight from some of the cars in front. Surprised he didn't just try and duck behind that kick Sauber there, but here comes Paps to the line. What's it going to be? 10th fastest, just splitting Pascal and Odin. A 38-1. Not going to be good enough there from the ET8 McLaren driver. ET8 struggled last time out in qualifying as well. I'll be looking to try and improve from their outing in Silverstone. So as the majority of the drivers head back to pit lane, Jonas Orpel is on a lap time. Of course, Marcel Paps, his teammate. Baku, not a circuit that's featured a lot on many calendars. Interesting to see what these drivers are able to deliver here this evening. Oh, I've just realised there is no game audio. I'm very sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. But there you go, you should be able to hear the game now. Yes, the game should be working now. I just saw that in the OBS feed that there was no game audio. So that's all fixed, ladies and gentlemen. Jonas Orpel makes his way through the first sector split. Apparently purple, so I don't know if 88 might be running a bit more of a low downforce setup. Nicely done through turn 8 and then into the castle section. Very technical through there. Just able to thread the eye of the needle. Of course, you're so close to the walls through the castle section. One early or late input could see yourself into the wall. So for Jonas Orpel, it's onto the brakes just as the curb starts. Down to third gear, over that inside apex curve. Run the car as close to the wall as possible. Through the final braking zone of purple. Middle sector apparently from Jonas Orpel. Let's see what this lap can bring. Of course, track evolution will be quite key around here. There's going to be a lot of track evolution with it being a street circuit. And now for Jonas Orpel. What's it going to be on his first flying lap? Just came out of the pit lane not too long ago, and it's 8 fast. It's a 37.5. Not too shabby there from the EC8 man, and only just behind Simon Enge. We do see Casper Flack now going to be starting a lap. Could potentially come under a little bit of traffic later on in the lap. And now exiting out of turn 1, down, of course you're braking just as that little gap in the wall, down to third gear, bring the car back out wide. It'll be DRS open, now down the next straight. But Casper Flack, of course, currently sitting 4th fastest for SCI. They're still doing everything they need to. They've got 2 drivers right at the very pointy end of the field, both on the second row of the grid, whereas Tomas Enge have a car just behind them and one struggling down in 9th. Casper Flack up by 67 thousandths of a second. And for VNC, they've got a car in front, but then also a car behind. So for SCI, Shizou, this is looking very nice indeed at this early stage of qualifying. So we make our way now through the castle section. Let's hear that little tap of the throttle to build the momentum up for this next part of the circuit. Maybe a bit too much of the apex curb taken there at 12. But as for Flack, now making his way through the left and then onto the brakes over that inside curb. Just is able to keep it out of the wall. There's a little bit of traffic in his way. That's going to be a small distraction. He's still up by, he found a 10th in that middle sector. And for Casper, this could be something very, very strong indeed. If he can get a nice, lovely slipstream here off that V-carb, and he certainly can, it's going to be DRS open all the way up to the line. How much time can he find on that slipstream? It's good enough for third fastest. 2 attempts found. Just wasn't able to pit Ryan Modler, who's just picked up a 5-place grid penalty for collision with Odin. But that shouldn't matter too much because we do have a lobby restart here, of course. So now on board with Flack's teammate of Jeroen Visser. I think he might have just aborted out of this lap. Yes, he has. So Jeroen setting up to go again. Is that Langrock heading up to the line? Yes, it is. Here comes Dennis Langrock. Is this an improvement? Yes, it is. Splits the 2 Shizou drivers, but only just with Jeroen setting up for another attempt. That could potentially be kind of dangerous. Actually, no, coming into pit lane will not have the fuel to go again. Next to the line, is Enzo on a lap? No, he's aborted. Simon Enge has just started a attempt. The Shubi goes 14th fastest to 38.2. Not strong there from one of the RSC cars. There's one at the top and one at the very back. We're an RSC sandwich in this session so far. But I think Elias Lockhart is currently pushing on. Yes, he is. Nearly 2.5 attempts to the good. This at the moment would put him onto the third row of the grid, up to 5th place. Could he find any more time in the final part of the lap? Up to the line comes Lockhart. He did find more time, and it was enough to pip Casper Flack to that 4th place spot. And onto the second row he goes, was just shy of Ryan Modler and Simon Engel. Very close for that 2nd place spot, but still Enzo Sabaton at the moment be 2 attempts clear of the competition. Simon Engel, he's also aborted his laps. Is perhaps run? It doesn't seem so. Jonas Orpel setting up to go again. Luke Mason's not pushing on. So we'll go back on board with Jonas Orpel. He now makes his way through that first corner. I think he's the only driver on a lap time so far. And makes his way out of turn 2. It's DRS open all the way down into turn 3. Of course, the first sector isn't very technical. It's all just DRS and 90-degree corners. The only real challenging corners are turns 3 and 4. 3 because you can easily go straight on because the meter board is so small to see and the sun's blinding you. And 4, there's a lot of natural understeer that you generate mid-corner because it's off camber. And for Jonas Orpel, he's navigated the first sector well, and he's up by 1/10 of a second. I think this could be his one and final attempt in qualifying here. Makes his way through the castle section. Of course, we wanting to save all that battery for these next few moments, where you make your way through the triple left-hander, should I say. And then into the heavy braking zone of 15. It's going to be the middle sector split now. We're looking at up by nearly 3/10 of a second. This could be good enough for 6th place, or could he find enough time in the final part of the lap to see himself now potentially hit those 1:37.0s? Sabaton, so far uncontested, but that battle for 2nd place is certainly heating up here in qualifying. It's DRS open for Orpel. Where's he going to place himself? Across the line he goes. 6th fastest. Going to be very, very happy with that one, especially how recent weeks have gone for ET8 when it comes to qualifying. But everybody else will have another attempt. Orpel will not. And the McLaren driver going to start the best of 6th. So as now drivers prepare for these final attempts. Who is going to come out on top here? The first driver to be setting a lap. Looks like one of the Ferraris. It was going to be Simon Engel, but then I think no, his teammate Ryan Modler has just overtaken him. We have 2 Ferraris to get us underway, but will either of them rival Sabaton, who has set an absolutely blistering time at the moment. The only driver in the 1:36s. And will he do enough to keep it that way? So for Ryan Modler, looking to try and take pole position away, but at the moment it's going to be a mountain of a task, especially with how many drivers are on the point zeros with him. It could be he snatches it away, and then someone like a Casper Flack or an Elias Lockhart snatches it away from him, or even his own teammate of Simon Enge. So, as we head up through turn 1 with the German driver, I think there's a little bit of a slide out of that first corner. Of course, a lot of pressure now on these lap times because they know they can't go again, and this means everything. So for Modler, it's going to be DRS open down into turn 3, braking where the 100-meter board is. It's heavy on the brakes, try and get the car into that apex. A few stabs at getting it turned in, hits the wall ever so slightly, but that won't affect him too much. Through turn 4, nicely done through there as well, just flooring the throttle in second gear, and in the first sector, it's up by 0.2 of a second. What a lap time this could be from Ryan Modler and for Venturi, but the question is, and that we'll see answered potentially later on, is Enzo Sabaton improving? So far for Ryan Modler, this is enough to snatch pole position away from the RSC man, but through the castle section, that looked committed and that looked spectacular from Ryan Modler. So through the triple left-hander, late on the brakes just as the curb starts. Don't invalidate here, but he goes deep into the wall. He's gone into the wall. Has that picked up any front wing damage onto the Ferrari? It has, and he's got nearly up by 0.3 of a second. Hopefully this wing damage doesn't affect him too much now. Down the straight, the prancing horse will gallop all the way to the line. What about his teammate? We can't see what Simon Enge is doing. So far for Venturi, their only hope at the moment, as we know, is for Ryan Modler. Up to the line comes the German. Is it enough? It is enough. He may have lost part of his front wing, but he has certainly found the improvement. Engel's improving too, and he snatches it back away from his teammate. Casper Flack can't find an improvement. Shuby moves himself up into 6th. Where is Sabaton in all of this? I think he's actually aborted the lap time. He has aborted the lap time. Visser up into 4th. Have we just seen a front row lockout from Venturi Esports? Or does somebody else have a part to play? Is Dennis Langrock one of them? Heading up to the line now. Is the Aston Martin driver. He's going to have to find a monumental amount of time. Across the line he goes. It's 4th fastest. He'll be very happy with that one, and certainly will Tomas Enge Sim. What about his teammate Lucas Basner? Up to the line, minimal improvement there. Marcel Paps, again, minimally improving, and it is going to be staying at 12th fastest. Pascal Gill is up by 0.2 of a second, so could see himself potentially alongside teammate Odin Tux. Across the line, does see himself alongside Odin Tux, and moves up into 10th place. Excuse me, but for Venturi Esports, that is exactly what they needed. Of course, Modler does have that 5th place, but that will get removed, I think, in this lobby restart. But for Engel and Modler, they take pole position from Enzo Sabaton, who just couldn't improve from his first flying lap. Dennis Lanrock 4th, brilliant for Tomas Engel. It's Visser, Lockhart and Flack. Jizu will be kind of disappointed with that one, with how it started. It's Shuby, Orpal, and I'll tell you the rest of the grid in a moment's time. So, we are going to have, of course, a lobby restart. I'll quickly run you through the rest of your grid. It was Visser, Lockhart, Flack, who, of course, will be disappointed with that one. Then Shuby, Orpal, Gill, Odin, Basner, Pabst, Pikarshik. Then it would be Blaze, Janssen, Hamza. Then, of course, have Hamaka and Diego Ferreira rounding out your field. So, we'll see who comes out on top in the race. But while we do that, we're going to have a quick intermission. We'll come back to this pre-race info. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Azerbaijan Street Circuit here in Baku, where, of course, we have 6.003 kilometers for the drivers. Evening with 20 turns, and it's 3.730 miles. It is one of the more iconic new tracks that have come to the F1 calendar. I say new, this year will be a decade since it first joined, and how it had a disappointing first race. But after that, it certainly has delivered with 2 DRS zones. One down the main straight at the detection point just before you exit turn 20. That little kink down that main straight. And then the other going down turns 2 and 3 with the detection zone just before turn 2. It's going to be a very interesting evening ahead. We'll have 19 cars. Unfortunately, Hamaka not able to race this evening. But in other news for FVR, Boba was not able to make qualifying due to internet issues. But you have Keaton Lutt coming in. A substitution made extremely late on. But here we are in track side. And it is a dry start to this one. Not sure what the weather's going to be looking like as the evening goes on. But it is certainly be interesting race ahead. It's all about survival in the opening stages of this race. And who for safety cars? Who will capitalise off potential safety cars? B. Venturi, who hold on to this one to streak off into the distance and close down that gap, not only to Tomas Enge in front of them, but of course championship leaders, 2 Cedars Igniters as well. Of course, it's Enge from Modler on the front row of the grid. I'm quickly checking. Yes, that grid penalty did go into play, but here we are then. It's the 5 red lights. It's the prancing horses on the front row of the grid, and we're underway here in Baku. It's a good start from Simon Enge. Modler is trying to hold on to that second place as Sabaton tries to sweep round. He's outside. Is he going to be able to pull that one off in the V Cup? Tries to force Modler a little bit further to the left under braking, heading through turn 2. It's going to be drag racing now down into turn 3, but look at that teamwork for Venturi. It's Enge giving Modler the slipstream, but he's come back over, and that's given Sabaton a little bit of a speed boost. As we now head through turn number 3, it's Modler who's just streaking in front for now, and does streak in front as Jeroen Visser is now squabbling away with Dennis Langrock over 4th place in this one. Who's going to come out on top here? Visser tries to hold it on the inside for 5. It's the outside for 6, and that was all over the curb there from Dennis Langrock, and I think slightly into the wall was Jeroen Visser. They're still side by side down into turn 7. This surely goes one of 2 ways, and it doesn't go the way I was expecting with them both going into the wall. But there is somebody off in the background, and I think that might be Keaton Lutt. It is Keaton Lutt, who has unfortunately gone into the wall. I think, no, he's been able to keep it out of the wall, but went straight on. But for Simon Enge and Ryan Modler, it's a dream start at the front of the field. They may not have broke DRS, but they have held on to that 1-2 on the opening lap. Quickly have a look at the times. Everyone on mediums but Keaton Lutt. Let's have a look at positions gained. Baisner up 2. Ferreira and Hamza are up 3 places respectively. Hamza's actually nearly lost the DRS to Diego Ferreira. And we have, of course, Lucas Baisner up to those 2 places as well. Our biggest loser is Odin Tux. He's down 7, so he might have been involved in an accident with Keaton Lutt. We now make our way up into turn 1. Visser, of course, was squabbling away with Langrock on that opening thought. How is this race now going to develop? As we start lap 2, everyone around about half a second away from each other, and Tashubi was actually about half a tenth behind Lockup and sees himself through. He says, thank you very much. I'll move myself up into 7th place. A better start for Tashubi than it was qualifying. Up now into 7th place. Of course, Sabaton Has a real shot as a potential race victory here for RSC if he's able to pull off the race pace that, of course, his teammate had. Silverstone of Ren's Masson. He's actually nearly lost the DRS. I was saying he might repeat the feat if he's able to show that pace that Tomas had, but he nearly just lost the DRS there. Heading into turn 12. No, not turn 12, sorry, turn 15. Now able to claw it back, but Langrock has now lost the DRS to the V-Carb, and it's really ebbing and flowing here, and has actually Sabaton got the DRS down the main straight. It flicked up to 1 second, and I don't think he does. No, he does not, so he's now going to be under pressure from Langrock, and Modler and Enge could potentially now try to streak clear. They could try and break away, build a gap from the rest of the field behind, and see what they can do, but of course they've got to bunch up ever so slightly into those slower speed corners. But with the pace they're showing at the front of the field, and with the DRS now enabled down turn 2, if they're able to keep Sabaton at least out at DRS range for when we go down that main straight once more, they're certainly within a chance of streaking further and further clear. And this could be excellent work for Venturi to pick up a 1-2, their first 1-2 of the season. That gap's 1.3 seconds currently. We're going to keep an eye on that one. Same with Dennis Langrock as well, because if he drops out of DRS, he then comes under pressure from both the Shizou Alpines of Jeroen Visser and Casper Flack. But for Enzo at the moment, and a little bit more time through the castle section. Of course, these are the corners where he needs to capitalise, because Modler will bunch up behind Simon Enge. Just not doing it at the moment. Going to be late on the brakes. He probably can carry a bit more speed through here. 1.1 is now the gap. 1 second. It's slowly coming down, but this is where Modler was just able to completely gap him last time around when we got out of turn 19. And it's going to be the same here as well. As you watch out of this right-hander, watch that time just flick up. Look, 1.3. It potentially could go up to 1.4 by the time we reach the detection zone. No, it will not. But it does certainly pick up in pace for Ryan Modler down the straight. And just look at him. 1.4 is now that gap. It's a healthy cushion as Marcel Paps is able to get past Pascal Gill for 11th place. He moves up now into the top 11. Will be threatening Lucas Basner as Elias Lockhart actually lost the DRS to Shuby. Is there any damage to that Red Bull? No, there is not. And for Enzo Sabaton, he's about a 10th closer this time around than he was last lap, so that could potentially help him when it comes to clinching that DRS. Another thing as well is Sabaton just backing off ever so slightly. Just save his tyres. Make sure he's able to save them. And then push on. Through the left of the castle section. He's lost a little bit of time there. It's 1.6. This is the highest it's been at this part of the circuit all race long. I don't think he's going to be anywhere near DRS range, and this could actually be the moment. Modler does streak 2 seconds clear, because he is lightning quick out of that final braking and traction zone. And it's just able to slowly build that gap, and with the DRS as well, it will certainly help him a lot. And is Dennis Langrock within striking distance of Sabaton? Yes, he is. Here comes Langrock with the DRS. He sees himself through. This has actually dropped DRS, same as Flack, to his teammate. But Langrock moves up into third. That gap now 1.6 between the Thomas Enge sim driver and the two Venturi boys, as Janssen and Odin are already into the pit lane. But of course, tyre wear quite high here in Baku. And we do actually see what was a potential switch for the lead between Enge and Modler. I think Modler just backed out of it. But it means that Langrock is now 1.1 seconds behind, as he now got the pace to potentially rival the two Scuderia in front. and make it Tomas Enge trying to split the two prancing horses. Of course, they lost that championship lead in the last round. Did Tomas Enge. It was a very disappointing evening in Silverstone. They are trying to retaliate against Shazoo, who once again, even if it's not a top 3 finish, are always up there in the top 5 or 6. That's exactly where they are now, 5th and 6th, scoring some very, very good points. But then Slamrock a little bit wide out of 16. No real battles really going on anywhere else. Kasper Flack has actually dropped out of his teammate Jeroen Visser's DRS. That could now potentially put him under pressure from Zashubi, who RSC also having a very nice point scoring evening. Down in 7th and 4th for Sabaton and Zashubi. It's DRS open for Langrock, who actually, no, it's not DRS open for Langrock because him and Sabaton elect to come into pit lane along with Kasper Flack and Elias Lockhart. Let's see how this strategy now works. They're trying to get the undercut, of course, onto the two Venturi boys. And, of course, one of them will have to stay out for that little bit longer. And that is looking like, at the moment, the German of Ryan Modler having to do that. And for Dennis Langrock, he now comes out of pit lane in some nice, clean air. And will push on this next stint, but only 5 laps on that medium compounder tyre. Just shows how quick they wear here. So I definitely believe it'll be a 2-stop race here this evening. But will this undercut work in their favour? Let's have a look at the split currently between Langrock and also Simon Engel. It's 17.3. It's slowly dropping. Of course, a big point will be this castle section, a key traction zone. See, is he finding time on Simon Engel up through the castle? Certainly does seem so. He's found about 4 attempts in the castle section. So, brilliant pace so far for Dennis Langrock. And are they going to box Simon Engel first here from the Scuderia outfit of Venturi? Are they going to see Engel win, or are they going to cover off with Modler first, thinking that Engel has an opportunity to just go that little bit longer? And does it seem so? Of course, it'll be DRS open for Ryan Modler. And no, Modler comes into pit lane. So, Engel does stay out for another lap. Visser in as well. Jashubi stays out. So, let's see where Dennis Langrock comes out in... Well, where? Sorry, Ryan Modler comes out in relation to Dennis Langrock. So, Modler's just trundling down pit lane. He's currently just passing the Alpine garage. There's Dennis Langrock, you can see, just heading into the first corner. It's a spectacular undercut from the German on his fellow German compatriot. And is Sabaton going to get through as well? Yes, he is. So 2 places lost there for Ryan Modler. And that could be the exact same fate we see for Simon Engel. So for Modler, he's got 1 lap fresher tyres, but he won't be able to get past Sabaton this time around because Sabaton has the DRS from Langrock. Of course, this opens the door for new possibilities as that's someone off. That's Elias Lockhart off. Down at turn 3. Potentially just overshot it ever so slightly. And Lockhart has gone from what was 13th place all the way down to 15th now. Really disappointing there. It's actually Kasper Flack jumped his teammate in Jeroen Visser. Now about a second behind Ryan Modler in this train. Gap now between Dennis Langrock and also Simon Engel is now down to 14 seconds. So he's about 3 seconds a lap faster than Simon Engel on those quicker tyres. Those much fresher tyres as well, indeed. So, of course, Engel does dive into the pit lane. There's Keaton Luck going through. Drastic Blaze is retired from the session in the pits. Unfortunately for him, he's our first casualty. And for Simon Engel, he's not only just been jumped by his teammates Enzo Sabaton and Dennis Langrock. He's been jumped by the 2 Alpines as well. So Venturi, have they fluffed their lines here? But of course, with still one more pit stop to go, can they smash out these tyres a little bit earlier on, try go for that undercut and see themselves clear? But for Simon Enge, that is going to be extremely disappointing for him. After leading the opening 8 laps, or well, the opening 7 laps, sorry, I should say, of this Grand Prix. Now running the net 6th place. Rowan Visser was able to overtake his teammate. Modler was able to pass Sabaton in all of that. Modler still just being able to keep within the DRS of Dennis Langrock. You want to take that net race lead away from the German. Simon Enge, he wants to dispatch the 2 Alpines ASAP. And here is his first opportunity. Casper Flack, the Shazoo driver, will have DRS of his teammate Jeroen Visser, but it's no match to the battery and the straight line speed of that Ferrari, because for Simon Enge, he has got a monstrous amount of straight line speed in that car. It seems that since certainly Venturi have gone for a low downforce setup. And now look at Jeroen Visser. He's going to be the one next on the chopping block. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Enge by down into turn 3 this time around. Yep, no defence made by Visser because he knows it's not worth losing time. Up into 8th place with Sabaton. Nearly a second behind on Ryan Modler once again. He's really struggling in that dirty air of cars in front. I reckon if he was by himself in his own little pack in the train, or even leading by Dennis Langrock, where Dennis Langrock is, where he's leading the train, he would have a lot more pace right now. Doesn't seem to like the car in those dirty air conditions. But you can now see as well Dennis Langrock being held up by Keeden Lutt here off FVR. Just not able to find a way through just yet. And this might actually allow Ryan Modler to get the jump. He might go for a move. Let's look how close he's starting to get to the back of the Aston Martin. Could it be a Mika Hakkinen-esque move? He's actually been forced into the pit lane ever so slightly. Modler squeezing himself up against the wall. They're past Lutt, and there is the German to the inside of his compatriot. Is it a Ferrari, or will it be the Aston Martin who comes out on top? I think Modler actually there was waiting for the DRS, but he was inches away, millimetres away from an aeroplane crash into the pit lane wall. But it was brilliant racing respect from both him and Dennis Langrock, as there goes Enzo Sabaton to the inside of Keeden Lutt. He's not able to keep the V-car behind for long, but for Modler, I think he'll find that's a missed opportunity to not see himself into that race lead. But crucially, Simon Enge will get some DRS off Keeden Lutt. And hopefully for him, he's then going to be able to stay in the train. But Lutt will also have DRS off Enzo Sabaton in front if he's able to keep within half a second over the course of the next about a sector and a half. Oh, a big moment there for Keeden. That's actually invited Simon Enge down the inside early through the triple left-hander, and he's got it done nicely. That is spectacular from Simon Enge to move up into 5th place in this race and keep within touching distance of Sabaton, because I don't think he would have done if Lutt was stayed in front through turns 15 and 16. He would have just dropped back a little bit too much. And now for Enge, he has a brilliant opportunity. As look at this, Langrock will get past his teammate of Lucas Bays, who stayed out for an eternity on those mediums compared to everybody else. Modler just happy to sit behind. Same with Enge as well. Visser will not been able to keep with the Ferrari driver, but then also as well his teammate of Casper Flack hasn't been able to follow him through here on to Keaton Lutz. Still not able to find his way through is Casper Flack. So for Flack, of course, he's now going to drop out of DRS of his teammate. He's just going to hemorrhage more and more time as he's stuck behind the Red Bull, and Enzo Sabaton is actually out of DRS range from Brian Modler. Saw this in the first stint. We're seeing it again in the second where Sabaton, he just struggles ever so slightly. Just not able to keep within DRS because this is rare. Modler usually gets the exit. He gets the run, but he's not got it this time around, actually. Potentially just stuck behind Lamrock, not able to get the power down as early as he would have wanted. But of course, the other Venturi car is what Enzo Sabaton is concerned about at the moment. It is going to be Simon Enge, now up into third place in this race. Venturi have really turned this around from a little bit earlier on as Casper Flack finally gets past Keaton Lutt. But in the process of doing that, has hemorrhaged 2.1 seconds as Jonas Orpel gets past Hamza for 14th place. Been a really tough evening as well for Lucas Baesner once again. He's down in 18th and not able to get a move done on Marcel Pabst for 17th. So another disappointing afternoon for Tomas Enge with one of their cars down near the back of the field for Venturi and Shizou. That's more points they're going to be scoring over the Aston Martin team. We're really going to have to reflect before we head into next week are, of course, Tomas Enge sim on where it's all gone wrong with Baesner. They know he's got the pace, he's not been able to show it so far. And look at this from Enge and Modler. This could be an orchestrated attack now that he's up into third for Venturi against Dennis Langrock. It's one Aston Martin versus the two Ferraris. They have the numbers advantage. But will that be enough? So for Lamrock, he's able to stay ahead for now. I think Modler's just very happy sitting within the DRS. You can see him just tucking out of the slipstream, making sure he keeps his engine cool as we've just reached that halfway stage of the race. Lap 13 of 26, nearly into the back of Dennis Lamrock. He's able to keep the car out of that Aston Martin's rear end as Elias Lockhart is under pressure here from Pekarsik, but there's Pascal Gil and also Diego Ferreira just in front of these two. It's oh so close throughout this train, and just Shuby is only just behind here as well. So we've got from 8th all the way down to 12th in one massive queue, as there is Lucas Baesner getting past Hamza. Is there any move going to be made further up between Pekarsik? Or is that going to be Tashubi to the inside? It is going to be Tashubi to the inside of the AZR car. Pekarsik really, I think he turned in a little bit early for Tashubi's liking to try and stay ahead. But the V-Carb muscles his way through. Next on his list will be Elias Lockhart, who we saw have that moment earlier on. But FVR looking to try and hold on to this 10th place at the moment. And those good few points that do come with it. And Lucas Baesner gets past, or does he get past Marcel Pabst through turn 7? They're side by side. Lovely racing between the pair there. Again, some brilliant racing respect. And that's what we've seen pretty much all season long from these drivers. It is when it comes to that battling, the racing respect is quite high. As to Shuby has got past Elias Lockhart. Same process, I think, that we saw from from Simon Enge on the sister FVR car of Keaton Lutz, out of 14. Able just to drag his way by into the left-hander. So then, as we see, there's Pascal Hill getting the move done on Diego Ferreira. He moves in front. Orpal able to get past Pekarczyk, or is he able to get past Pekarczyk? Now as they make it side by side into turn 2, he's going to be very, very close into here. And Orpal is able to hold or get the move done, sorry. Yes, he is. And there's Tashubi as well, going for a move onto Diego Ferreira. Tashubi's got a lot of pace in the moment in that V-carb for RSC. Just couldn't get it done. Not close enough under braking. As we see Tristan Janssen going for a move there on Elias Lucker. And there's Lucas Bader. It's free wide into turn 4. When do you ever see it free wide into that right-hander? And Bader's taken the pair of him. He said, thank you very much. I'll capitalise on the carnage. And moves himself up into 13th. Spectacular there from Janssen. And Baesner. So for Tristan Janssen. He's now trying to keep a hold of Lucas Baesner. Jonas Orpal is now dropped out of DRS of Tashubi. Tashubi is actually going to go for a move on Ferreira, is he? No, Pascal's under a little bit of pressure. We've switched from the lead battle now to this train. Lucas Baesner, of course, is still looking to catch up to these guys in front. He's got past Jonas Orpal. As I said, not many laps to go. He's not been able to show the pace as Lucas Baesner, but he certainly is showing it now. On that longer strategy, kept those mediums on for 10 laps. And really has elected to push on at this stage. See a little bit wide there, I think we saw from Diego Ferreira to Shubi having to go across the curb. Just not close enough in the V-carb for the move. Really inviting Lucas Baesner at every given moment. And Sabaton's nearly dropped the DRS of Simon Engel. Really close to the back of his teammate of Ryan Modler. So as we're about to hit 11 laps to go here. Oh, we're going to see a pivotal change for the race lead. So Modler not going for the move. Engel into pit lane. Engel and Sabaton into pit lane. They're going for the undercut. So an interesting strategy call here from Venturi onto another set of the hard compounded tyres to take them to the end. Alpha Ferreira not close enough to Gil. Is Tashubi coming to pit lane? Of course Tashubi's not coming to pit lane, sorry. His teammate came into the pits. And look, oh, but for Simon Engel, he's not cleared the traffic. He has not cleared the traffic. And this might work into Lanrock's hands now, because he's going to be stuck behind these guys who are battling for position. And Ferreira wants to try and get past Gil. And Engel's not gone for the move. He's not gone for the move on the Mercedes. He's playing the long game. But could that have just cost him dearly? There's a yellow flag in the first sector for Jonas Orpal. Something's happened to the McLaren driver as he lost part of his front wing. He has. He's gone into the wall there at turn 3. But for Simon Engel and Enzo Sabaton, they've come out right in the midst of this squabble. And if anything, they're going to be hemorrhaging time. You see there, 18.5, 18.4. Are they finding anything? I don't think they are. They are losing a heap of time here against Dennis Lanrock. Engel now going for that move that we saw him do on Keaton Luck. We're surely going to see the likes of Lanrock and Modler in this time around. As this undercut work, as we see Sabaton and Baesner! Sabaton and Baesner come together. And the man that was running 4th place in this Grand Prix, Enzo Sabaton, has gone into the wall with a bold and brave move onto Lucas base. The lad has not worked out at all. And we see Modler and Lamrock into pit lane. Enge, of course, will have DRS here, which could be a saving grace. As you can see, just coming out the pit lane exit will be Lamrock and Modler, and I don't think Engel's going to get them. He's not going to get them, no. This undercut didn't work. He came out in just too much traffic. But still for Venturi, they have this fighting chance because they have Modler still over the back of Lamrock. Engel has forced his way back up to the diffuser of his teammate and within DRS range, because of course they've been on cold tyres for the majority of this lap. Here we are then with Modler, who's nearly actually dropped out of DRS range from Lamrock. Or has he dropped out of DRS range? Is he going to be able to open that rear wing? I think he might have just done. No, he's not. No, he has not. And this for Dennis Lamrock might just be a spectacular moment in the race when we thought Venturi may have had the upper hand with the numbers game. They saw Engel come out in traffic. They've then seen Modler drop DRS from Dennis Lamrock. And now the Aston Martin might just be able to streak clear for the rest of this one. Have Tomas Enge Sim done a wonderful strategy with one of their drivers. They went for the undercut in the first stint, able to pull that off. Knew they could run that extra lap longer on the second. As in all of this as well, Keaton Lutt has seen himself up into 6th. Spectacular from the FVR driver. As Casper Flack makes his way through there on Bakarshik, that was very, very hairy racing indeed. Bakarshik having to back out of it or he's going to be put into the wall. Ron Visser still staying out. Or we potentially seeing Shizou do a Hail Mary with one of their drivers and try go for a one-stop strategy. I don't know if it is possible. Certainly staying out longer than the rest. Across the line. There'll be 8 laps to go. Magnificent Grand Prix. Which has had it all. And no, Jeroen Visser coming into the pit lane this time around. Let's see what he can do. He'll try to tear his way up through the field. And Modler still without DRS against Lamrock. Teammate Engel getting closer. Are we going to see a switch from Venturi? Latter stages of this lap potentially to allow Engel to have an opportunity. Attack the car in front. Casper Flack getting close to the back of Keaton Lutt. Eventually now pull a move off on the FVR driver, but for Lutt to come from last and finish into 7th place. Able to keep it clean. That will be a spectacular achievement as Engel's now actually dropped out of DRS range from his teammate Modeler. So it was looking like it could be a routine switch between the pair. He's actually dropped out of DRS range and Modeler was just not able to claw himself back through. But his teammate did just keep within the DRS, which is absolutely crucial if they do want to fight against the Aston Martin driver in the later laps. Joan Visser actually came out in front of Tashubi in 4th. So he's actually in a really good spot for Shizu. Kasper Flack, of course, in that 7th place. Could potentially become 6th in the next few laps. Tashubi, who boxed earlier on than the rest. He's going to be pushing on as well as Enzo Sabaton. I don't know if he didn't stay out, I don't think, with that damage. He did. He actually didn't repair the damage. And he's in 10th place at the moment, so still carrying on and soldiering on and scoring some points. Whereas the man who he had the contact with, Lucas Beisner, once again involved in an incident, just like we saw last time out in Silverstone, down in 17th place. Hodler. Just teetering on the edge. He's on a knife's edge with getting within Langrock's DRS range. He needs one of these monstrous exits out of this next left-hander. And has he found it? He might have just done. Or has he? No. Langrock sees it back in front. It's constantly flicking between the pair. There's a yellow flag somewhere on the road. It's Hamza. And it's a safety car. The safety car comes out, and we're going to see Modler into the pit lane. Modler into the pits. Engel stays out with Langrock, the German, using his initiative to surely go into a set of the mediums. No, be a set of the softs. This could be interesting to see. Lutz also comes into pit lane. Kasper Flack does jump Ryan Modler. Surprised we didn't see either of the SCI boys in. They think track position is vital. Well and truly could be. But a disaster for IRT, both their cars out. We have a late race safety car with Modler. Trying something different to the rest. So when this safety car comes in, we'll probably have 4 racing laps to go. And it's going to be absolute chaos. All the way to the end. Of course, Sabaton. He surely changed his front wing in that as well. He would be stupid not to. And he has changed his front wing. So the drivers on the fresh tyres are Modler, Tashubi, Lutz, Orpel, Sabaton, Janssen, Pabst, Beisner and Odin. We could certainly have some big chaos over the course of the next few laps. So for Lanrock, this is a big moment for Tomas Enge. They need this race victory. They need to try and swing back at least some hope against Venturi and also Shizu, because at the moment, both of those teams are going to be scoring top 5 finishes. Are we going to see Dennis Langrock hold on? Or are we going to see others come through the field? And actually, I think we're going to have 3 laps. A 3-lap dash because Basner and Odin have not made it to the safety car in time. That works into the soft tyre runners' hands because, yes, it may mean they have less opportunities to get the overtakes done. But it does mean their softs stay in play for a little while longer. Exactly what Modler was praying for. So while these drivers are quickly under the safety car, Odin is catching up. I'll quickly show you the standings once more. Of course, as you can see, Shizu are just in front of Tomas Enge, so they will still outscore, but it is going to be absolutely crucial to keep that a deficit for Tomas Enge as small as possible. And then for Venturi Esports as well, 185 points. They are certainly going to be within contention if they can try and get a 1-2, if not a double podium here, against 1 point. The no podium, sorry, for Shizu and the 1 podium for Tomas Enge. But back to the racing action. The safety car is in at the end of this lap. We'll have 3 racing laps here in Azerbaijan. And who will reign supreme? Who will be the king of the streets? Langrock will be your burnt Mylander. He is now your de facto safety car, and when does he decide to go? Does he leave it late? Or does he try and catch everybody out by going early on? And I think, oh, it looked like he was going to go then. Certainly did look like he was straightening out the car, maybe just catching a little bit of a wobble. Straightened it up now. The opportunity. Put his foot down and go. Look how close Engel is getting to the back of him, and he's gone. Lanrock has gone, but he's not really jumped Simon Engel in this one. But Modler might even go for a move here on Casper Flack. He is going for a move on Casper Flack. To the inside he goes. Pascal Gil versus Diego Ferreira as well rages on in the background. Gil just able to stay out in front there. Sabaton making his way through on Elias Lockhart for 11th place, just being able to keep the Red Bull away from the wall. Modler now up into 3rd, and he is going to be really within striking distance of his teammate Engel and Lanrock as well. And if you are Venturi Esports, you are telling Engel, get out of the way. Lockhart has retired. Something's happened, unfortunately, to the Red Bull and also to Jonas Orpel. We've just seen as well Modler get past Simon Engel. So it's now going to be Lanrock versus Modler once again. Keaton Lutt holding up a little bit of a train, and there goes to Shuby. Pascal Gil wants none of that. He just wants to keep his car in one piece and carry on. And for Elias Lockhart, the other FVR driver, unfortunately at turn 3 has come a cropper and has not survived. these opening skirmishes from the safety car as Keegan Lutt now sees himself through, and Ryan Modler is all over the back now of Dennis Langrock. And we might just see the Venturi driver get the move done into turn 1, or is he going to wait for turn 3? Of course, DRS will be enabled once we cross that start-finish line, and Venturi are certainly looking at a potential 1-2 finish. Langrock weaves to the right, weaves to the left. Modler is going to go for that tight gap he saw earlier on as well in this Grand Prix. He's going to be later on the brakes on those fresher soft tyres into the first corner, and he streaks to the front of the field, but will now have to contend with Sir Langrock, a DRS in down this next straight, but he gets a good launch out of turn 2, and that might have just done it for him. Enzo Sabaton is able to or is he able to get past Diego Ferreira? Something's happened there between the pair, as Tristan Janssen also had a big moment as well. Ferreira under pressure now from Sabaton, as that's actually Pekarczyk looking to the inside of the V-carb. No move being made there. And we actually see free wide once more with Lucas Basner to the inside now of Pekarczyk. And he's just having to sit in that 14th. Is he going to try swoop round the outside for that 13th place? Some slight contact between the pair. Modler out of DRS range from Dennis Langrock. So we could now potentially see Enge get his way past on the Tomas Enge sim driver. And there goes, that is Odin past Pekarczyk as well. They're side by side now into the Wall of Champions. That's surely not going to end well. It does not. And Odin, I think he was ever so slightly ahead, has been put in the wall. And he's lost his front wing, unfortunately. So for Tashubi, he's closing down Kasper Flack and your own Visser. And for Venturi, the more places that Tashubi and potentially even Keegan Lutt can take away from the drivers in front of him on the hards, that'll be spectacular for him. Simon Engel, he needs to set this lap up well if he wants to get the run to the line at the very least. If he wants to try and snatch this second place away and convert that Venturi 1-2 in qualifying into a 1-2 in the race, as there's contact between Tashubi and Kasper Flack, and Flack having to defend the inside line. Somehow both stay in the right direction. There's more contact between the pair, and Tashubi sees himself up into 5th place, and will now have the DRS as well for your own Visser. As Simon Engel gets closer to Langrock. This is a critical final lap of the Grand Prix. So as we switch our attention back to Simon Engel, who's actually got Visser all over the back of him. Is he even going to be able to hold on to this 3rd place? It was potential looking for 2nd, but is it going to be able to hold on to 3rd? I think for Venturi, the pace has just gone away from Engel at the wrong time. Through the left. This run, oh so important. Ryan Modler will win this race, the German. Lined up 2nd on the grid. Has done everything perfectly. Used these initiatives to go onto those softs. And it has paid off for him. So for Ryan Modler and Venturi, they will see themselves on the top step once again. And this really does bring the fight to Tomas Enge and Shizu. They are not afraid to get down and dirty. They are certainly here to compete. And Modler used the strategy well. He survived the late race chaos. And he used the initiative to get that race victory. He wins here in Baku from Dennis Langrock. And then it's Simon Engel who just held on to 4th place over your own Visser. Tashubi in 5th for brilliant recovery drive from him. There's Keegan Lutt 6th, Flack 7th, 8th for Janssen, 9th for Pass, Gill in 10th. And then Ferreira and Sabaton. But for Ryan Modler, he used his smarts. He saw the safety car come out as he was going by the pit lane. And elected to dive for those soft compounder tyres. And it could not have worked any better for him. As here are your race results. It's Ryan Modler who takes the race victory from Dennis Langrock in 2nd, a German 1-2. Then it's Simon Engel and Jeroen Visser in 3rd and 4th. Toshubi in 5th from 8th from the brilliant drive from him. And a spectacular drive from Keaton Luck to get 19th in the end. Casper Flack finished in 7th, finished where he started. And it's Tristan Janssen, Marcel Paps and Pascal Gil. And then it's Ferreira. The disappointment for RSC again with Sabaton. Unfortunately, picked up that damage from the collision with Baisner. And that was it for him. And then Elias Lockhart, one of your DNFs, along with Hamza and Drastic Blaze. It was just a very, very chaotic race here in Baku. And it certainly was one where Venturi Esports, they pretty much dominated that one. Of course, we had that spell with Langrock, but as a team, as an organisation, it was Venturi who came out on top and could be very, very proud of the evening that they have had here in Baku. And that does bring them into a really, really strong position. They try to push on to get closer to Stu and Tomas Enge out in front. So for Venturi Esports, they bring down that gap, that deficit. Will it be enough come the end of the season? Talk about the end of the season. Here's your calendar. So next week we head over to Mexico for round number 8. Round number 8. Of course, there was no Canada, so it will be round number 8 on the 27th of January. Could Venturi dominate round there as well, or could we see Shizu or even Tomas Enge come to the fray again? Never know. RSC might just be able to convert a good result into potential race victory once again. Then, of course, we have a week off before we return for round 9 at Viva Las Vegas on the 10th of Feb. And then it's Brazil on the 17th of Feb for round 10. And then to round it off on round 11, it's the 24th of February. It is the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Going to be very, very eventful indeed. And we shall be expecting a chaotic end to the season. The title fight will rage on, of course. And for Shizu, Venturi and Tomas Enge, I think they can certainly rule themselves as the three fighting for the title, especially Tomas Enge and also Shizu Cedars Igniters. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be all from us this evening. That's going to be all from me as well, of course. Thank you to all the drivers, all the teams, ABS Esports, all the admins, and everyone at Champions Esports Series for making this possible, and also everyone at Driveline Media. Of course, being able to bring this production to you without them, stream would not be possible. But thank you all very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. It has been an absolute pleasure. Join us next week when we head over to the South Americas. North Americas, should I say. We head to Mexico at the Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez. It is going to be eventful. Will Venturi get closer to the championship fight? Will Shizu extend the championship lead, or could Tomas Enge see themselves hit the front once more? We'll have to wait and see. But join us next week at 7 PM UK time, 8 PM Central European time. Should be an absolute blast. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.